Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Rise of the Phoenix. I'm going to be honest real quick about this video. This is going to be a mostly unscripted video as Season 2, as my restart project, started roughly 4 days ago. In like 2 hours it'll be exactly the 4-day mark, and so I've been playing this way too much, having too much fun, and that has distracted me from planning out a guide type video, and so I figured I might as well put together a progress update style video. So that's what this is going to be. Before we get into it, if you enjoy my content, please do consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel. Welcome back, everyone. Let's talk about how Season 2 has been going for me this time around. First, we'll take a quick overview at our rankings. Number 3 in terms of ring level, number 2 in personal production, and my restart group is number 1. That's our main fellowship, as well as number 11, which is our second group of players. I say main and secondary. I don't mean that as like Team A and Team B or whatever. As we do as best we can to make everybody feel equal between the two fellowships. It's just we have too many people to have two fellowships. So that's where we are sitting in terms of the leaderboards. The commanders that I've chosen to use this season, I have been very pleased with. Probably unsurprising as we were playing Gondor. I have Gandalf the Grey sort of leading the charge in terms of levels. This guy is just ridiculous for taking tiles. This is my build if you guys want to snag it for your own seasons. Been extremely happy with this build. It's performing amazingly. I've been taking 150s, actually, honestly, since the first 24 hours. The first 150 I took was painful, but ever since like day 2, somewhere into day 2, I started taking 150s easily with Gandalf the Grey. Since we're talking about 150s, I was really pleased with my performance in the first 24 hours. I have to say, I ended the first 24 hours with 1 150 and 8 130s, which I think is my best season opener to date. I'm sure other people out there, especially the big whales, have done much better than that, but I was very happy about that. We have Éowyn as coming in at number 2. Obviously, we're playing Gondor. That's a cavalry-based faction with awesome tier 4 cavalry units, making Éowyn a perfect commander. This is the build I've been using as her. She's a little bit weaker than Gandalf still, but I don't yet have access to all men mounted units. I'm thinking that once I hit that point, and I'm almost there, once I hit that point, she'll probably be about as strong as Gandalf the Grey, maybe a little bit worse, because she's not quite as strong of a commander in general, but she is quite strong. A surprise commander here, I suppose, is Arwen. I have her at respect 5. I decided at the very end of Season 1 that I wanted to start investing into Arwen because I wanted her for tiles and bosses in the early game. I don't know that I'm really going to use her in PvP, but so far in PvE, she has been doing quite well too. Very straightforward build for her, all the healing things, and I figured that this was worth 3 total points to put into this, just for that chance of a stun. It only goes off once per combat, I believe, but a 57% chance against all enemies is quite solid. I don't know, maybe these 3 points would have been better saved for later, and maybe I max out Queen first. Either way, she's been doing great, so I've been happy with it. I haven't messed around with it. And finally is my boy Éomer, who cannot, to save his life, get a cutlass. I cannot get a cutlass. The cutlass that Éowyn has, even though I just opened 201 chests, and throughout Season 1, I opened 180-ish paid chests, plus at least 2 chests per day, the free chest you get and the 200 gem chest that you get. This is the only melee might cutlass I have ever gotten, and you can see I've only ever gotten 1 other cutlass. That is some bad luck, my friends. I feel like Éomer would be doing considerably better if he had a 3-star cutlass, and obviously I have the extra weapons lying around to make that sort of thing happen. I toyed around with the idea of giving him an Elven Dirk, but when I compared the stats, unironically, I think a 4-star Ranger's Dagger is actually better for him because he doesn't care about the army speed, he doesn't care about the focus, and unless I'm building him for damage, which I haven't been, this isn't really adding that much. So he's been doing he's not doing bad. He's just not performing how I hoped he would. And I think a lot of that comes down to his gear, which unfortunately RNG is RNG at the end of the day. The build I've been running for him so far is this. I'm probably now going to max out mounted combat, although I've toyed with the idea of going 2 here, 1 here, just for a little bit of extra damage, then going for mounted combat, and then finishing off 2 damage kills. I'm planning to build him as like a hybrid cavalry commander slash damage dealer. He's still going to have access to 4 damaging abilities, which is pretty decent. AO Red Leader is a nice title, as well as Rohirrim and Riding Excellence. It's just so hard for me to justify not taking those skills when I have access to Swan Knights and Cataphracts and maybe eventually Bree Riders and obviously Cavaliers. It's just so hard for me to justify building him as a pure glass cannon. So I'm going to test him out that way. If it doesn't work, I can go pure glass cannon because we know that works. As far as the map, Angmar, I believe, is the only faction to have taken a territory. Spoiler alert, hopefully tomorrow that changes and there will be another faction on the map with some more territory, but that's all I'll say about that for now. And then as far as buildings go, very pleased with my progress here as well. I just hit level 8 main hall, and I'm working towards getting Outriders unlocked. As soon as these guys are unlocked, which should be in like a matter of minutes after the recording of this video, I will have access to Cataphracts, Knights, and Outriders. Eventually, I'm going to push that to Cavaliers, and eventually I'm going to push this to Bow Knights. I'm going to need them for 200 tiles sooner than later, but I don't know that I have the economy yet to support conscripting full T3 units while also working on all of these other buildings that I need to work on, because there's a bunch. The one thing I'm not happy with so far is my military academy level is actually like 4 below where it could be right now. I think it's 4. It might only be 3. Either way, it's definitely below where it could be. I'm pretty sure it's 4 below. So I need to get on that as soon as possible as well, because I'm going to need the extra command for pushing into 200s. I've delayed it for now because I was handling 130s and 150s just fine without it, but it is a point that I'm going to have to catch up on eventually, or I'm going to fall behind. But since we are main hall 8, that actually puts me on chapter 19. Just hit that. This one is a very long chapter. It's probably going to take me 2 days to complete it, maybe a little bit longer, because I feel like I need to get my tributes caught back up and I need to get my military academy caught back up. But this is kind of the point where these tributes, in my opinion, can really start paying off, especially if we finish up the video taking a look at the ring build that I have chosen to go. I went EXP first, as I always do. I highly recommend that everybody take EXP first. I am completely convinced, based on all of the first 24-hour starts that I've done and all the seasons that I've played, that this is the best thing you can take in the beginning. Then I went straight down to powerful sweeping. This has been extremely important for taking 130s and 150s, and it's going to be absolutely necessary for pushing into 200s. I highly recommend that as your second choice. And then, of course, because I am a Levy fanboy, I went for Levy out of curiosity, just to double check my math, because somebody called me, well, I shouldn't say they called me crazy for suggesting Levy. Somebody in one of the chats said, should I get Levy or should I get Harvest? And they said, yeah, you should definitely get Harvest. And I said, no, man, like, that's not actually true. You should get Levy. And he's like, no, 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 harvest is better. It gives you more resources. I did rerun the numbers for I think the third or fourth time. And even though my tributes were at the time all 12, and my Rohirrim quarters didn't even exist, and this was level 7, I was only like a couple thousand resources below control plus harvest for half of the ring points. That's a couple thousand resources per 24 hours, not even per hour. So I am now also completely convinced that this skill is fantastic, particularly for season 2. By 12 or so hours from now, once I get my tributes caught up, Levy will be giving me more resources per hour than somebody harvesting on a 200 power tile with both harvest and control. And I've spent half of the points to get there as they would. However, I still am going to pick up control because it is an amazing point or amazing skill anyways. I'm doing this because if I get control and levy, then I can gather a ton and I have that levy bonus on top of that. And so it's just, hopefully I'm going to be drowning in the resources, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So hopefully that will help me catch up my military academy, catch up my tributes, and then build all of the other things that I'm going to need to build to get to Town Hall 9, because I need to do that pretty soon. That way I get more tiles, and ultimately, like, I want to have all 20 chapters done hopefully like 4 days from now maximum. If I could do it in 3, that would be awesome. I just don't know if I'll have the resources for that, but that's kind of what I am aiming for so far. So yeah, it has been a wonderful season. I want to give a shout out to all of the people on my server that have either commented on my videos or sent me a message in game. I've gotten a ton of people just, talking to me and saying, hey man, I watch your videos, I'm on your server. Everybody has been super nice. So I want to take a minute to give a shout out to everybody on my server. And whether or not we're on the same side or opposite sides, I hope that we all have a great, enjoyable, and fun season. My last season 2 was extremely toxic, and I'm hoping to avoid that same sort of situation. Hopefully we can all just be friends. We're all playing a game. We all love Lord of the Rings, I assume. That's like half the reason we're playing this game probably. So I just want to take a quick moment to remind everybody, for what it's worth, that we're all in the same boat. We're all playing this game. We all love Lord of the Rings. We all have way more in common than not in common. And so I just hope that the toxicity and drama can be kept to a minimum. Anyways, that is my little rant about that over. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned something useful. Let me know what you think about my first 4 days in Season 2 down in the comments below. I'll see you in the next one. Rise of the Phoenix, over and out.